All right, everybody. So today we are going to be making a checkpoint system in Unreal Engine 5. As you can see here, this is the simple side scroller setup I did. I did another tutorial on how to make some simple spike death traps in a side scroller level and some little moving enemies. So we're going to hit play and just kind of show you what we're going to go over today. And here you can see my Unreal character here. There's an enemy moving over on the other side, and you can see if I step into this, I create a checkpoint. And if I touch an enemy, I die, and then we want to respawn at that checkpoint. So here we go. There's another checkpoint. Fall into the pits. We want to respawn our character in the last checkpoint. So we're going to go over it, and we're going to keep it really simple. You can see there's a little particle effect playing as you walk through them. But the simple version of the tutorial won't have any of this. We're just looking to set a respawn point in our level. So if you accidentally backtrack and die like that, you can start up at the new spot. So that's what we're going to be working on today. So if you came here for that kind of action, that is what we're doing. So we're going to exit out of this version of Unreal. Here you can see a duplicate scene where I don't have any checkpoints set up in here. So to kick us off, to start us off, we need to make a variable with our transform in it. All right, so here we go. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to hit our content drawer, and we're gonna put the system inside. Let me click on content here, inside our game mode. So we need some place to store a variable that it's not going to disappear if the player gets killed, and that is in our game mode. So we're just going to type in game mode. My caps lock is on. I'm going to turn it off. It doesn't really matter though. Right here. So by default, if you're using like the third person game mode, you would want to click on this, but since we're using a variation, we made a copy of that game mode. It's called SS game mode, stands for side scroller. We're going to click on that. So double check whatever game mode your game is using. And you'll notice right here that we can't write any blueprint scripts because there's no full blueprint editor. And so up here on the top, if you're seeing this, you can just click on this open full blueprint editor. And it will open that up for you. So now I can work on our blueprints within here. So basically we want to set up a transform so we know where the player needs to spawn back to if they're killed. It should be pretty straightforward, but here we go. We are going to, let's just create the variable first. So we'll hit the plus button on the variable. And the new variable, you can name it whatever you want. We'll just call it spawn transform, because we're going to use it as a transform so we know the location, rotation, and scale of whatever spawns back into there. We're going to hit enter. By default, it creates a Boolean. So I can either change it down here or up here on the right under the details panel, but we're going to change that to a transform node because we want the location, the scale, and we want to know exactly where it is, how big it is, and what way it's rotated. So we've got that, and what the heck, let's just drag that into our scene right now, and we're going to say get spawn transform. There it is. It's super cute. All right, so whenever we start a game, we want to know where that transform is. So we're going to push right, click on right, and then select an event begin play node. There we go. Event begin play. And once we begin, we want to cast that to our side scroller character or whatever character we're using. In this version, it is a side scroller character. So we're going to drag off of this and select cast to BP underscore SS character. So for this particular level, that's what our character is called. And then our object on the wild card, we want to get the get player character node. There it is, get player character. So we're good on that. Should be a pretty quick setup here. Let's slam that on here. And now the other thing we want to do is we want to know when this character is destroyed. So those spike traps and those little enemies, they're destroying our character. So it would be very helpful if we knew when that was destroyed. So we're going to drag off of this and we're going to bind to event, or sorry, not to event, bind event to on destroyed. So this says if that target is destroyed, we want it to do something, and we're going to claim that as BP character. So if we're looking for if this character is destroyed. We're going to bind that to onDestroyed. And we are going to cause an event to happen. So now we say on this event, we're going to create a custom node, custom event. And we're going to call this one onDestroyed. So when that happens, we're going to set a little delay here. We had it on for 2 seconds, which is fine. It seemed kind of long, but we'll leave it at 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds, after the player is destroyed, we want to possess. We want to possess the player. So we're going to get the player controller right here. Get player controller. Perfect. And we want to possess this. Let's see if this will work. So we want to possess EOSS. Great. Perfect. We want to possess the whatever we are spawning. Oh, which we missed one. We missed a very important step here. We need something to possess, which just makes sense. So when the player is destroyed, we're going to wait 2 seconds, and then we are going to spawn an actor. We'll just say spawn actor from class, and we'll change this to BP underscore side scroller character. There it is. BPSS character. Perfect. Okay, so after that is spawned, we want to possess it. We want to grab it. And return value is the pawn. Okay, so we're almost set. But when we respawn that, we want it to spawn at our checkpoint transform right there. Okay, so we're almost good here. So onDestroyed, it's going to respawn the character at the transform. You're going to possess it. And then we want to do another check. So this is checking it at begin play. We're going to create a new custom event. And we're going to call this respawn. So it respawns, we're going to bind that again. And when this is all daisy chained, we're going to create that respawn node. Okay, we're going to hit compile and save here. So just to recap, when an event begins play, we're going to cast to the BP character. We're going to bind it to onDestroyed. When it's destroyed, onDestroyed, it is going to put a delay, and then it's going to spawn our player character back at the transform of the variable we've created. And then we're going to possess it with our player controller so we can move it once again and kick off the respawn node and reset the whole process. So we're binding the new character to the bind event to onDestroyed again, so we can repeat that cycle. Hopefully this is all making sense. So we have that all set up. Our respawn logic is good to go. We will just double click the spawn and save. I'm going to go back into our main graph here, and we're going to look at one of these spike traps. I just want to show you what it's doing. So we're going to double click on it and look at the transform. So when you hit one of these spike traps, it is looking for an overlap. The player is overlapping it. We're making sure it's the BPSS character. When that happens, we're spawning a little explosion placeholder emitter, and then we're spawning a little placeholder explosion sound. We're waiting half a second, and then we're destroying the character, right? So then your game mode looks for that onDestroyed, and we'll set up the new spawning point. So what we need to do now is to create the actual checkpoint itself, just for you. Okay. All right, so let's do this. Let's create our checkpoint system now. We'll just keep it super simple. Just go in here. It doesn't matter where we are. We're going to go into our content drawer again. We're going to get rid of that. We're just going to go into our content. We're just going to put it right here. Normally I have a little blueprint section in here, but we're just going to right click. We're going to say new blueprint class. I'm going to select actor and call it BP underscore checkpoint. And we're going to create a checkpoint. And with that checkpoint, right off the bat, we can just drag it into our scene, and you'll see all that's there is this little placement node. So nothing is even going to appear when you hit play because there's nothing in it yet. But we're placing it in our scene just for kicks. We're going to double click that node. And here you can see a viewport, a construction script, and an event graph. First thing we're going to do in the viewport, we want to place a visual so we know where that checkpoint is. So we're going to click on add. We're going to type CYL to create a cylinder. Bada bing, bada boom. And we're going to scale this down. I'm just going to do it right over here in the transform under the detail section. I'm going to change it to 0.1 by 0.1 by 2. We'll make it tall by 2. Okay, so now we have just this, essentially it's a stick sticking out of the ground right here. We're going to hit compile and save. Let's look at it in our scene, and you can see I've got this checkpoint stick sitting there. Let's hit play, see what happens. Oop, we're bumping against our stick. I mean, I can jump over it, but we just want to walk through it. So a couple things I could do. I could just move it back out of the way. But that would be too easy, and it runs, I think it'll have risk for bugs. So we're just going to go back into our content drawer here, double click on that, and let's drag it up into our folder system here. We're just going to go over here on the right side, and we're going to change the collision. Where are you, collision? Here we go. We're going to change the collision from block all dynamic over here on the right side to no collision. We're going to hit compile and save. Now let's look at it again. We'll hit play. All right. I can walk right through the stick now. No worry about bumping into it. Dylan, good to have you hanging out in chat. Okay, here we go. So we can walk through our checkpoint, and look, we'll just hold down Alt, and we'll create multiple checkpoints in here. Let's say we want a checkpoint when we get to the end of the level here. We want to put one up here in case I fall down. We're going to put one over here after I make it past this enemy right here. And then what the heck, we'll put one all the way here on the end in our faux little level. We just want to show that they're all working and they're all doing what you want them to do. Okay, so let's look at our checkpoint here. We now want to create a trigger box. So we're going to click on add box. Box collision, here we go. We're going to create a trigger volume that we can walk through and set a new transform variable. Let's scale it so it feels like it's the size we want. We could keep it, let's just keep it small like this. You know what? Let's make it a little bigger. I don't know why, but let's do it. Okay, so it's kind of a boxy shape. All right, we're going to hit compile and save. Let's go into our event graph now. I'm going to delete all of these extra doodads that come stock. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select that box, right click, and say on. Actually, I think we need to compile it first because we've added that box. So let's select the box now, and on component, begin overlap. Yep. So one thing, if you're not seeing the right nodes pop in and you want it to be connected to this box, so that the component, the problem is we didn't have a component selected or that was compiled yet. So if you're not finding the node you need, just tap the compile node. It'll compile all the scripts so that it'll work. So now it's looking for the box. You can see it in parentheses. That's what I want to check. So we're going to cast this to our side scroller character. So cast to BP underscore, wait, can't even see it. Cast, we said cat. Cast to BP underscore side scroller character. Here we go. So here's our character, wild card, other actor is that object, that character. Okay, and then what we want to do is cast this to that game mode. The SS game mode. Cast to BP underscore SS game mode. That is the game mode that has that respawn information in it, right? And so in this one, as BP character, we want to get actor transform. We want to know where that character is when it enters that trigger volume. So we're going to say get actor transform right here. Get actor transform. And the object wildcard for the game mode is actually get game mode. We want to make sure we're getting the right game mode of our game. So get game mode on that. Here's our actor transform. And once you get that, once you've entered it, all we have to do now is set that variable. So we're going to hit compile so that it knows that we know where that where that variable is in the game mode, and we're going to say set spawn transform. That was the variable we created over in the game mode. And we're going to put that return value in here. We're going to hit compile again. That error should disappear. The target needs to be as BPSS game mode. Now that error should disappear and it should be nice and clean. So very simple. So when you enter that little box, you're checking to see if it's the BPSS character. You're grabbing the transform from that character and you're setting it in this spawn transform that is in the game mode. And then you get that game mode to make sure it all works copacetically. And that's it. That's all you need to do to set up this simple checkpoint system. Make sure it's compiled and saved. So let's run a test here. So we select through here, we walk through this checkpoint, but we can't see that we're actually getting the checkpoint. So we're going to actually add another little tidbit of logic here. Let's walk through here. Let's notice this. See, we can jump to this side, boom, and then we can accidentally fall into the spikes. It's going to wait 2 seconds and then spawn us at that checkpoint. But we can't see it. There's no indicator. There's no visual representation that we've touched the checkpoint. So we're going to put in a placeholder. Checkpoint here. We're going to add an emitter to it. So if I click on that enemy again, just to make this fast, we're going to grab a sound and an emitter. So we're going to grab these two nodes right here. I'm going to hit Control C, go into our checkpoint, and we're going to add a particle effect here. We're just copied it out of the other one, and we're going to put it right on. So once we've set that variable, we're going to look at the actor's location, which is the checkpoint, and we're going to play that explosion and a sound every time we enter a checkpoint. So we're going to hit compile, save, and this can be replaced with like a moving object or a piece of collision that appears. We're just doing it as prototyping. So let's see what happens now. Okay, so every time I hit a checkpoint now, it explodes. And it does it every time. It's resetting. So even here, I'm resetting to that one. Let's run for it. And you can see I will start right up on that second one right here. That bothers me. I don't like that it clicks every time. So one thing you can do is check this out. We're going to go back into our checkpoint. And we are going to now change this. So it will only do this one time. We only want to let this, only let you set set this one time. So I'm going to delete this connection from the cast to BB character, and I'm going to click on the, do this do once. I just found out about this node too. So you learn new things every day. This is the do once node, which essentially says, I only want to go through this one time. So now it's completed, boom. So I walked through it, it checked it, it's going to go through this thing. Once it, actually, this will work. I can see how this could have an issue because we're casting this BB character. I probably actually want to set this right here for safety, because this kind of means it's going to overlap anything. And if it does it, it'll stop working. But since we only have the character in here, it should work just fine. Let's hit play. So you can see now we can't set that off again. We can do this one, but we can't reset it back there. Let's run through this. There we go. We set the new one. Let's die. See what happens. There we go. We just set there at the beginning. Let's run up to this one. Now you can see if I make a mistake, fall down into the pit and die, we're set back up top. This is great. Now if I accidentally touch this guy and we die, we set back at our checkpoint. Now the player isn't frustrated that they have to climb through and go over all that again. We just got this one and then we died. Something weird. Oh, he hit it. He hit, okay, so this is an example right here of the do once node. Okay, that enemy passed through this checkpoint. He do onced it. Now watch this. We can fix this. So just like I was saying, we're going to go back to our checkpoint and we're going to move the do once to after we've we've connected the character. So we'll uncheck this, reconnect this guy. There we go. We'll fix this. We'll fix it all. All right. We'll reconnect this to the do once. Now it's going to check for the BP character and the game mode. And then it's going to do once. It's going to reset that transform and then set off these. So now enemies won't wreck it. Won't wreck our logic. We bug fixed it in real time. Here we go. See, we got that one. Got that one. Let's do this. Let's do it. Okay. We're going to jump over this section. Climb up our tall area. Now remember, we had an enemy passing through our checkpoint, which would have broken it. Okay, so now he's not breaking it, and we can jump in it, and it works. So if he kills me, there he is again. Let's see if we can. And I think this guy might be broken now too. Yep. So since he got triggered by that, that's awesome. Okay, and here's the last one. Right, so now if I go back, if I go all the way to the bottom now, I don't know if this will do it. No, I fell down and died. Okay, never mind. Such is life. All right, that's the tutorial. Pretty straightforward. That is how to create respawn and checkpoints in Unreal Engine 5. Hope you found it helpful. Have a fantastic day, everybody.